Do you limit screen time? Hi, welcome back to Supermom Knows Best. I'm Erin. Oh, we're going to talk about a hot topic today, the dreaded screen time. Much like a lot of things, I have a different take on this, so stay with me. A lot of doctors and professionals are coming out with these studies that are saying kids are becoming addicted to screens, and that's horrible. See, for kids in the 80s and the 90s, a lot of us were latchkey kids and we were babysat by the television. Our parents weren't home and we were left to our own devices. Cable was brand new. Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel were huge. There was no streaming, there was no pause, there was no DVR. And so we sat in front of the TV to make sure we caught our favorite channel. One of our things as kids was Snick on Saturday night. You had to catch that block. Over on ABC, Friday night was TGIF. Thursday night was must-see TV. So then as we became parents, as the latchkeys grew up into millennial parents, we handed our kids a device. We handed them our iPhones, our iPads, a Kindle for a moment of peace and a break. A lot of people didn't figure out how to handle it or rules or regulations until it was too late, to where the kids became non-responsive, didn't pay attention, and ignored us. But because I had worked with kids for many years before I had my own, I thought a little differently about it. Now, like I've said a gazillion times, my kids are on the spectrum and so is my husband. My husband relies on his screen for his job. He's always on a device, his laptop, his phone, because he needs it for work. If he's not actually coding or working on something for work, he's learning about it. He's passed on that need for knowledge onto both of our boys, which I am grateful. When I was pregnant with both of them, I prayed they would get their father's brain and intelligence, and boy, God answered that in spades. We've never limited screen time. I know, I said it. We've never limited it. In fact, I allow them to look at it whenever they're home. But we had rules. We had a lot of rules. You weren't allowed to watch anything inappropriate. My husband has it set up to where he can see every YouTube video they watch. So he can scan it and he can check it. Now, he had to do that more when they were little because, as we all know, it just links you over to another video. And if you get put on something that you shouldn't be watching, it just continues. Children aren't always aware that what they're watching is inappropriate. It's our job to know when it's inappropriate. Our rule became very simply, if we ask you to hit pause, you hit pause. If we say it's time to turn it off, you turn it off. And in return, if you say nicely, I have one more minute and this video is complete, or please let me get to the end of this level and hit pause. Let me get to a save state. And the answer is never, no, now, you must do it now. No, because you just asked in a respectful tone and manner. Of course, I will give you the minute. I will give you a chance to hit pause on that game and hit save. I know how important that is. I'm not going to be cruel until you know it must be turned off now. Nowadays, with our rules in place, our children know when is an appropriate time to watch and when it's not. For example, we went to dinner the other night. I mentioned we went to Olive Garden. Our children sat there. They had their phones with them. They know that if there's a lull and we're waiting for food or something along those lines, that they can look at something real quick. But once the food arrives, the phone goes down and the fork goes up. They know to have a conversation. They know to talk. They know how to have manners. But I think it's because we put those rules in place from the beginning. Now, of course, it was a struggle when they were 3 or 4 years old and 5, because they wanted to keep watching their movie, their show, whatever they were doing. But they learned that we said, put it down, act like a person, have a conversation with us. So they do. The other thing I love is that most kids are watching random trash or non-educational television on their phones. And that was one thing. But my children are always watching educational things. I know. My oldest is a huge history and geography buff. He's always watching some history video, learning some new aspect of something, or what would happen if Germany had won World War II, what would the map look like? What would the world's landscape look like? While my little one is watching Mark Rober videos on how to design or build something. I can't fault them for wanting to watch educational videos and wanting to learn more. I think if you're going to watch something, then you should watch what you're interested in so you can learn more about the topic that you're passionate about. And I love that about my boys. And I would not take away their screen time and keep them from it. I've never been that parent that says no just because. And you know which parents I'm talking about. First of all, my kids are too smart and would ask why. And I made sure to give them the why if I was going to say no. I've been told that I don't have real rules. But if you come into my house, you will see we have rules. They follow our rules. Yes, no limit on screen time can be a dangerous rule for a lot of children who have addictive personalities. And I understand that. And I'm not telling you to not have limits. What I'm saying is, if you try putting some rules in place from the get-go, you might find that you don't need to limit the time. When my kids were little, they didn't realize that when I was asking them to pause their video, to go outside and go play, or let's go to the store, let's go ride your bike, let's go throw a ball, they were pausing and they were putting it down. They got limits without it being called limits. I think they respond better because I was giving them something else to do. I wasn't saying turn it off to turn it off. I was saying turn it off and let's go do bubbles. Let's build with Play-Doh. Let's go play in your sandbox. And as they got older, being asked to pause and put it down just became second nature. You don't have to say no just to say no. You can come up with a better way to say it's time to hit pause. I hope you find that helpful. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you have a limit on screen time? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear why. And I will see you next time.